just 6 practices in, and really like our team. What's that mean between now and March? I got no idea, but I really like our team. I like our guys. I liked them before we started practice, and a lot of my my feel for them based on how they approach the off season and for where we're at have been reinforced for me. You know, knock on wood, health is always something that you don't see coming and you have no control over. If that stays on our side, you know, I think it's going to be a fun group of guys to watch play.
Frank, you talked about just having 6 practices in, so have there been any major surprises at this point, something that you didn't expect?
I haven't been hit with a basketball yet. That's always a good thing. Demetrius Henry's a lot better than he was last year, just because he's removed from the pressures of, you know, we all sit there with freshmen, and we, including me, think that it's a lot easier than it is for a freshman. And they, you know, when you're a freshman and you have a bad day, it gets exposed real bad. And you've never been through it before. And then the next day doesn't get easier, it gets harder. And then you have to start playing the other teams. And you just don't get an easy day. So it's hard to regain confidence, especially when you're going through it for the first time. And that kind of happened with him last year. He wasn't physically ready to deal with the rigors or the physicality of a college practice, let alone a game. And he wanted to, he just couldn't do it. You know, and that's why I kept playing him, because he wanted to. If he would have thrown in the towel, then I wouldn't have played him. But now he's in a better place. He's been able to find success because he's prepared his body better. He understands things better. He's removed from games, so he doesn't have to. You know, it's a little different when you're 18 and your moment of failure is in front of 12,000 people and the world to watch on television if they choose to. Then if it's in a room with just 10 guys, you know, that negative moment isn't as impactful when you care. When you don't care, it doesn't bother you. But when you care, it isn't as impactful. So he's been a lot better. He actually had an offensive rebound dunk yesterday in practice. I haven't jumped in about 10 years. I left the ground when I saw him dunk that ball. It was fun to watch.
You talked about Demetrius with this, but you know, last week you were harping on strength and conditioning during the off season. Is that evident the way you thought it would be in the first 6 practices?
Yeah, I've been through it with Scott Greenawalt now for 10 years, and when guys buy in to what he does, which if they last in our program, that means they've bought in, the growth that they show as athletes is phenomenal. Mentally, see, the weight room's not just about making your muscles grow. The weight room's about conditioning your body to stay healthy, to be able to handle things. And here's the part that no one talks about the weight room: mentally. It gives you strength mentally, because that's not, lifting weights is not fun. It's not easy. It's not easy to get under a bar and torture yourself. And to do it every day, year-round, nonstop, it creates a certain mental strength that you got to have. And Scott does it as well, if not better, than anyone in the country, and for men's basketball. And I don't say that because he's my guy. I think everyone here knows he's my guy. That was my opinion of him before I ever went to work at the University of Cincinnati. That coaching high school basketball, I thought that was Hugs' biggest asset. You know, and that hasn't changed. And he's phenomenal. And just seeing what guys in the last 10 years since I've been with him day in and day out, the progress that guys make when they spend time with him is remarkable. So I'm not surprised by that by these guys. It's actually, that's what I mean when I'm out there. Their growth is being reinforced as I'm watching our guys practice.
Frank, after listening to your answer about Demetrius Henry, then what allowed Sindarius to adapt so well to the college game last year? Did he make it just look easier than maybe it was?
He's a guard. He's a guard, and he's bigger and stronger than the average guard. Demetrius at 205 pounds is a lot smaller and skinnier than the average frontline guy. And people are different. You know, it's Sindarius had some real bad moments statistically, you know, but he was bigger and stronger, so he can withstand those moments better, I think. And then we're all different. Our makeup is different. Our mental makeup is different. Our backgrounds are different. Our ability to manage situations when they come upon you for the first time, different. Some handle that differently. I think Demetrius's inability to physically maintain the disciplines, the strength, the consistencies that you need to find success, I think that caused him difficult moments for the first time. I don't think he'd ever experienced that before. And I know he's in a much better place now mentally, physically, and that you can be the biggest, strongest, best looking human being in the world. You can have the biggest biceps and the biggest pecs ever put together. If you've never been punched in the mouth, you're going to freak out the first time you get punched in the mouth. And that's what happened to him last year. But he got punched, and he was the little skinny guy. And I think that made him lose confidence. Now he feels a little better about himself.
Frank, looking at Justin Mackey, he had a pretty good summer in the Pro-Am and said that he really wasn't ready for last year. What have you seen in his development through the offseason and through these first 6 practices?
Yeah, Justin, it's day and night. And I can only imagine what being Justin Mackey at age 18 is like. And, you know, the easy thing for him to have done is go to another school. That would have been the easy thing to do. Go to another university and you never have to worry about the expectations, the public opinion of who you should be. And he never gave in to that, you know, and on the contrary, he's, you know, BJ, his dad, was at our practice yesterday. BJ's been phenomenal in helping us, help Justin through the moments. Justin's in a much better place as a player. He's in a much more stable place from a day-to-day standpoint in his approach to everything that we do. And that includes academically, socially, and obviously athletically and basketball. But I don't know I can tell you this, I wouldn't have handled things as well as he did at 18 when I was 18. You know, he should be, I think a lot of times you know, we all want to pass judgment on 18-year-olds, and we tend to forget the stuff we did when we were 18. And not getting on the floor shouldn't be viewed as a failure. And on the contrary, I think he's achieved a lot in his short time here because he's grown up a lot as a person. And he's better prepared to help us right now. And he is helping us. He actually, I told BJ Mackey I might have to create a job for him because he probably had the best practice he's had in his time with us yesterday. You know, so I'm excited for Justin. Unless he does something completely off the wall, he's going to get an opportunity this year.
Speaking of 18-year-olds, have the freshmen is the learning curve been really steep for this past week, or about what you expected?
I'm happy all the way across with our freshmen. Stroman and Blanton bring in an excitement, a toughness, an enthusiasm that when you see freshmen got it, you get excited that those guys are going to be a part of what you do for a long time. You know, and I'm also happy that I know who the freshmen are every single day in practice. I told Stroman yesterday, I don't think he'd ever heard the story, the saying before. I said, Marcus, you're $1 short, day late, every single day. And he kind of looked at me like, what the heck are you talking about? Well, that tells me, not that he's not good enough, that the other guys that have been around here understand things better, and they're playing faster, they're playing stronger, they're playing more disciplined. And Stroman, let me say this now, Marcus Stroman understands coaching and where he belongs better than most freshmen. You know, but you know, he's turning it over a little too much right now. Part of that is Ty Johnson's guarding him every single play. And he's got a senior that's got him playing a little too fast. But Marcus's turnovers aren't bad turnovers. They're just, he's playing too fast, so he's making decisions a little too fast. And I'd much rather have guys that you got to slow down than guys that you have to speed up. And then Blanton, same way. He's you know, here's one thing about DeMarcus. He might be in the wrong place, but through his effort, he's going to make a play even though he's in the wrong place. It's, you know, and as we can, he loves, you can be coaching player A on this side of the court, and DeMarcus can be on this side of the court, and he knows everything that was said to that player over here. That's the kind of attention that he brings, and so it's just a matter of time before, you know, he kind of puts things together. It's they're fun. Those two freshmen are fun. They're gonna have moments where they're gonna make my scalp continue to grow above my hair, but they're also gonna have moments where I'm gonna sit back and they're gonna make me smile because of what they do.
Coach, you talked about the couple freshmen that you have, but I have to imagine, you know, 6 days into practice, there's a better sense of comfort knowing that those young kids don't have to play right away, where last year you really were left with no choice because of the amount of freshmen you had on the team. Those guys were going to have to see playing time. So do you have a better sense of comfort knowing you don't have to rush anybody into the fire, so to speak, right away?
As a coach, you have a comfort when you got guys that you think are good enough and you understand them. The problem with freshmen is that you've never been through the fire with them. They don't really know you, you don't really know them. And in our sport, between April and September, everything's hunky-dory, because everything is about making the individual better. Come October, it's all the individual stuff goes out the window. It's about whatever you did to get better, now implement it into a team setting. You know, you haven't been through it with a freshman, and then you got games, and then, you know, coaches make decisions, who plays, who doesn't play, and guys are going to be happy and they're not going to be happy. How do they handle that emotion? And as a coach, you know, who do you end up trusting in, and who ends up trusting in what you do? There's a lot of dynamics that go into getting through a year. And with freshmen, you've never been through it with them, so you don't know. And they're great, and then the season starts, and you're pushing them to give you more, and they don't know how to give you more. And then, you know, it kind of creates a little tension in the relationship sometimes. And that's all right. That's part of life. My 15-year-old and I, we have difficult moments in my home because I'm forcing him to give me more than he wants to give, and he doesn't know how to do it. And it's just part of it. It doesn't mean you love him more, love him less. It's just part of the deal. And I'm in a comfortable place with the guys on our team, with the culture, with the unity, the camaraderie, the care that they have for what we do and one another, and that gives me comfort as a coach that we got guys who are going to give us everything they got. And you know, in about a month here, you know, everyone's going to be writing about whether we're good or bad depending on what the score of a game is. I understand. I'm always going to keep my faith, my emotions tied into the guys on our team, not winning and losing.
Coach, will there be any effort made to stop the big guys from shooting threes this year, or you're still cool with the big shooting threes?
I want guys to shoot ball. Here's my rule for shooting the basketball. And this I tell our team verbatim. I've been doing this since I coached high school basketball in the 80s. Take shots that you can make. Take shots that are in rhythm. That means it's a good pass. It's not a ball that you fumble. And take shots that we can rebound. If those are the three criterias when you shoot the ball in your mind, then shoot it. Whether it's from 10 feet or 27 feet. You know, and if you got a big guy that looks good shooting the ball, but he only shoots at 20%, only makes 20% of the shots, that's not shots that you could make. So don't shoot them. You know, the only place with big shooting threes that kind of changes what we do a little bit is with offensive rebounding, because then you're pulling one of your bigs outside the three-point line, and offensive rebounding is a big part of what we do. So you have to train them to go rebound from outside the three-point line and not just from that 12, 15-foot area. You know, Michael Carrera can shoot the ball, and Douglas has worked day and night at shooting threes, and you know, and I give them parameters as a coach as to what spots on the floor we want them shooting the ball from, the bigs that is. And it's my job to instill confidence in players, not take it away from them. And if they spend time doing something and they show the ability to do it, I've got to make them feel good about it. So when they're in a game, in the moment, I don't want guys thinking about, well, should I shoot this? Is he going to be mad at me? I want them to believe that if they put in the time, I'm going to expect them to shoot it. If they don't, then don't shoot it in October, November, December. If you spend time in the off season getting better at something, then when you don't do it in a game, I'm going to get mad at you. Because you put in the time, so find the confidence to go do it. And that's what I try to do with the guys.
You talked about Justin a little bit. We all know who his father is. You also have another player, another famous father, Reggie Theus Jr. How is his development going? Also, he didn't play very much last year. And what's your relationship with his father like?
Yeah, Reggie Sr. and I are friends. We've been friends for a while, and unbelievable respect, me to him, and I'm pretty sure him to me. We continue to communicate on a regular basis. We were recruiting the whole summer. We ended up in the same gyms, and his son absolutely loves it here. His wife is not Junior's wife, Senior's wife. His wife is ecstatic for her son and how much he's grown up in the last year. You know, Reggie Jr. wanted the challenge of playing at a high major school. Reggie Sr. Trusted in me that I would be the right person to help his son move forward. Those two thought processes have not gone out the window. I'm extremely proud of how much better Reggie is right now than he was a year ago. And that's what I was alluding to when I said that about Justin earlier. It's not fair to judge children because of their parents' name. They're different. And because B.J. Mackey scored a gazillion points here and represented the last era of consistent winning here, those expectations should not be placed on his son because he has the same last name. Their values are going to be similar, but who they are, it's B.J. and Justin. And the same thing with Reggie Jr. and Reggie Sr. They can't be, you know, it'd be like one of my kids decides to coach. And if they don't meet public opinion as to how many games he should win to be considered a good coach in comparison to me, if you think I'm any good, that doesn't make them a failure. It's, you know, it's we all have to, you know, we can't judge people on their last name. We got to judge them on their first name. You know, their last name should tell you what their values are about, but who they are as a human being should be judged on their first name. And the same thing with Reggie. You know, we can't expect him to come in here and be a Hall of Famer because his dad was a Hall of Famer. And if he falls short of that, we view it as a failure. We have to understand who they are and what he's shooting to become, and then it's my job to help him get there. And that's where we're at with him, and he's great. They're all better. Every one of those guys is better than they were last year.
What led to the decision to have the open practice on Friday, and do you think this is a team that's worth showing off?
Yeah, heck, you look at the schedule we put together last year with 9 freshmen, I think you realize that I'm extremely proud of the guys on our team, and I'm going to show off our product to as many people as I can. I'm not into hiding. I don't want our players to be hiding, and we're not into tricking people to succeed. We want to expose our guys to everything that it takes to be great, and have them believe that they've got to embrace every single responsibility of winning and greatness. And the Friday thing, we were just sitting around and as a staff, and we're talking about different things as the season's starting to get here, and we said, you know what, homecoming week, there's all kinds of stuff going on campus. We really don't have a fan appreciation, Midnight Madness kind of deal this year. Why not kind of just let our guys go up and down a little bit with some referees, and let our student body who and I continue to say this, and I've said this publicly, and there's a rhetoric in this community that our fans don't care about our sport, okay? And it's something that continues to be reported by media members, which is your guys' side of the fence there, that people don't care about basketball in our community. And it's unfortunate that that's the feel, because if you look at facts, and facts are facts, is that this school hasn't had much success in basketball in however number of years. You put the number there you want to put on there. But we ranked 39th in the country in attendance last year. It's hard to tell me that people don't care, and yet you're in the top 40 in the country in total attendance. You're 5th in the SEC, and there's an opinion that people don't care. That's I'm having a tough time swallowing that one. It's but we got fans that care. Our students last year were awesome. Now, I don't know if you guys remember the 2 snow games. Our student body was ridiculous. We didn't have the commuter fan in there. We had the students in there, and they were off the charts. The Kentucky game, when I took the job, I had people say to me, Frank, we can't have this deal when we play Kentucky or Ohio State or Florida, where the whole building roots for the other team. And I've never been in that environment. I've been lucky. I was at Northeastern where no one came. They didn't come for us for that, and nobody came. And then by the end of my time there, we were selling out our arena, which was a massive building that sat 1,800 people, okay? And then you go to Cincinnati, and it's 13,176 every time you play, and everyone's a Bearcat. And then you go to Kansas State, and it's 12,196, and everyone's a Wildcat. And then I come here, and I'm hearing this about fans from other schools representing. So I went into that Kentucky game really expecting that. I thought our fans were off the charts. There was a moment in the game, I have no idea why, they were starting to make a push, and their crowd started kind of to make some noise, and it was engulfed. Their noise just disappeared because our fans took over the building, which is what it's about. And so it's just a way. I gave you a long-winded answer for such a simple question. Got me just excited about what we're doing here. We've got great fans here. You go to a soccer game, there's 5,000 students at a soccer game. I don't need to tell you about football. I get goosebumps every time I walk out there. You go see women's basketball, look what Don's built. You go see our baseball team. I'm tired of going and standing. I like to sit down every once in a while at a baseball game, but there's no seats. you know, and we've got awesome fans. And when you take into consideration the lack of success, there's no other way of wording it, that this program's had for whatever number of years, for us to rank 39th in the country in attendance should show people that we actually got great fans, and that we got fans that really care, and they can't wait for this bubble to move in the right direction so we can put 18 in that building. And I'm not going to stop. Our guys set records for community service by the men's basketball program. We're for a university that prides itself in the athletes doing community service. We have the most community service hours of any athletic team right now at this university. I take a lot of pride in being a member of the community, not just being the basketball coach at the university. I'm not going to stop until the good Lord either takes me or we put 18 in that building when we play. It's you know, I like big parties. I said that a while ago. I don't like going to parties and being two people there. That makes it boring. There's only so many conversations you can have. You know, I want that party to be as big as we can.
Guys, we got time for one more question. John?
What are your early thoughts on the league this year? And when y'all meet over the summer as coaches, do y'all set goals of how many teams you want to see in the postseason? Any kind of conference goals like that?
Yeah, John, you know, I'm glad you asked me that, because we just had a meeting 2 weeks ago. Here's what I'll say. I'm really getting sick to my stomach with that whole rhetoric that this league's not any good. You know, Bruce Pearl, Elite Eight. Billy Donovan speaks for itself. Just going down the line. You know, Kevin Stallings, Elite Eight. Mike Anderson, Elite Eight. I've been fortunate enough to be in Elite Eight game. Calipari, 3 Final Fours with 3 different universities. Just take your pick. Just keep going down the line. Kim Anderson just won a national championship. Just keep going. Those are the kind of coaches you have in this conference. And to sit back and tell coaches that understand what it takes to be successful, that their league stinks, it's a joke. It really, that's personal, you know, and it doesn't stink. And I don't know who started that whole phenomenon that the SEC is no good. I don't know who it is. It just makes no sense to me whatsoever. None. And I think the league, you're starting to see teams kind of take shape because the ones that have had coaching changes, now there's more stability. Obviously, Florida and Kentucky are always, as long as Billy's there and Cal's there, those 2 programs will continue to be amongst the top 4 or 5 in the country, let alone our conference. I think there's a couple programs that might take a small step backwards because of transition, and you know, but who knows? You know, and the ones I'm talking about are Vanderbilt and Missouri, not Vanderbilt, Tennessee and Missouri. Well, they got new coaches, so there's change in personnel. But last time I checked, Kim Anderson really can coach. Donnie Tyndall can really coach. So how long before they kind of get that thing rolling again? I don't know. There's, you know, the league's real good. The league, you know, it's this whole nonsense that this league's no good. And I don't know who started it, you know, but obviously a lot of people have paid attention to it. You know, I was at a function Saturday in Atlanta, and Buck Johnson, I don't know if any of you remember Buck Johnson, played at Alabama. Great, you know, great college player. We sat around and spoke about that. And he was like, Frank, I don't know why people keep talking about that the SEC's down. It makes no sense to me. This is what I'm going to say to you, John. And everyone says that the league was down last year, okay? How's Kentucky lose 10 games and play for a national championship? So they're no good, or are they real good? You know, how's Tennessee lose whatever they lost? Well, you know, Tennessee beat teams that are in other leagues by 40 in non-conference play. Then they come in our league and they lose 6 games, I think they lost in league play. They were 12-6 or 13-5, one or the other. And all of a sudden, well, they're not any good. Really? Well, they were a minute away from going to the Final Four and having 3 teams in the Final Four. How's that possible if you got a conference that's not very good? You got Andy Kennedy, who's the winningest coach in the history of the University of Mississippi. He's sitting there saying, I've got the best team I've had since I've been at Ole Miss. He's the winningest coach in the history of that school, so he understands winning. You got Anthony Grant at Alabama. Only 2 schools, Florida and Kentucky, have won more SEC games in his time in the SEC than Alabama. And he likes his team a lot. It's hard for me to understand this whole rhetoric and dynamic about the SEC not being very good. It really is. If it didn't bother me, I would have given you a 2-word answer and we would have moved on. But I don't get it. I really don't. I really don't. And I think a lot of the people that report that the league's not very good don't really pay attention to basketball. I think the people that have that rhetoric and that opinion are people that, might watch a school play, but not watch the whole dynamic of college basketball. It's, it's unfortunate. It's unfortunate that the SEC's viewed that way because it's not true. It really is not. And as a coach, I stick up for guys in the business. And I can tell you this, it's insulting to tell John Calipari that his team's not good because they lost 6 league games and they're good enough to play for a national championship. That's insulting, for a guy that's been to a Final Four with 3 different teams. It's insulting to Kevin Stallings to say, his teams, they were 500 in league play, but your league stinks. That's insulting to Kevin Stallings, who I think he understands how to coach and win games. And how do you change that rhetoric? I don't know. I got no idea. I really don't. I got to worry about our school. I got to worry about helping our guys win games so we can represent one day the SEC as a champion and hopefully in an NCAA tournament. And that's all I can worry about. But it really is a sore subject that's unfortunate that's been created. Coaches didn't create it. I don't know who's created it, but it's unfortunate.
Thank you.